I used to think that opportunities existed somewhere far away, in other countries, in other cities, and belonged to a certain group of people. And I believe some of you in here can relate to this, so I wanted to start with a question. How many of you have said or have heard someone say that I just need to leave this place to make it in life? Or maybe, I wish I was born somewhere else. My life would have been totally different. I'm guilty of that. I used to believe that opportunities were only for those with the right family names, those who went to the expensive private schools, and those with the right connections. Until I realized that no matter how much potential I have, no matter how great I am, if I stayed in that mindset, I'll always be limited to the amount of opportunities I can access. But how do we break beyond this barrier and this belief that limits us so we can use what we currently have to access the opportunities that we want? I finished secondary school in 2013 at 16 years old. And whilst waiting for my school results, I joined an intensive tourism training program where I graduated top of my class. Now, I thought graduating top of my class would make it easier for me to get the opportunities within my field. But when I applied for practical training, 15 companies never got back to me. And even after trying again and again, going back to them, the result was the same. But I didn't give up. And I thought maybe it wasn't because of my performance, it wasn't because I was a great student, but it's because I didn't have connections. But even when I was connected to one, I felt limited to how much I can perform. Those who were supposed to train me felt offended every single time I tried my best. I would hear things like, "You're trying to impress someone, you're trying to show off." And these words over time makes us afraid to try. They make us afraid to stand out. And they make us afraid to try our best. And eventually, what happens is we stop learning, we stop improving, and ultimately, we stop growing. So I said, I don't want to be in an environment that the people around me limit how much I can perform. I want to be in a space where I can perform, I can learn, I can be creative, and become better in what I do. So I had to make a very risky decision, I would say, by saying, I don't want to be employed. But not because employment is a bad thing, but it's because I associated employment with that limit for growth. So I told myself that I just want to work as a freelance. The only way I could set my own values, my own standards, and work with the people that I want, those who believe in what I can do. But the challenges of working as a freelance is the income uncertainty that comes with it, which makes it difficult for a lot of people to pursue this route. I had the skills, I believed I was great, but I had no one to give me clients. So this device I'm holding on my hand came to the rescue. A device that not just me, but every single person in this room has, became my bridge to a world of opportunities. I went online and searched how companies get their clients. And I came across a website where I could list my services as a tour guide at a time that tour guides were not doing so. So after I did my application, in a few weeks' time, I got accepted and started receiving clients. The more I performed the tours to my level best, the more positive feedback I was receiving. And the more that encouraged me to do better every single day and improve. 2 years later, I became top rated in major online platforms. 5 years later, I created the most reputable walking tour experience in Zanzibar. And 7 years later, I started my first company. Now, all of this is not to talk about my achievements or the great things that I've done, but it's a story of how we live in a world where you don't need to rely on others to create something meaningful and to be seen by the world. Because we have with us, every single one of us, one of the most powerful tools for democratizing opportunity that humanity has ever created. Now, this was not the path I was expected to take. I grew up in a community where everyone around, including my family, thought that I would eventually become a doctor. Of course, I passed my secondary school exams as a science major, but the association of being a doctor was not really tied to my performance in science subjects. But it's because I come from a community where the worse your handwriting, the better chances you have to becoming the doctor. So that association was not because of my performance, was because of how terrible my handwriting was. Now you can imagine going back to your parents who all along thought that you would eventually become a doctor and telling them, actually no, I'm not going to be a doctor, I'm going to be a tour guide. The only thing I could think of is the weeping I would be getting right before that conversation ends. Now, this is because being a tour guide is not a respected profession. It's something that is oftentimes undervalued and misunderstood in our community. It wasn't about all of this. It was mainly that I was able to do what I wanted to do. And I'm grateful to have supporting parents who supported me throughout that journey and allowing me to do and pursue this route when I quickly realized that going to school was not really for me. Now, life sometimes puts us through tests. And even when I thought that everything was working perfectly well, COVID happened. Tourism stopped overnight. Everything I had built over time, my income disappeared as well. And just like everybody else, these were very uncertain times. At home, not knowing what to do. But there is one thing that I knew, that I had a skill. I had something in me, which was storytelling. And I used to tell these stories to people who traveled all the way from their countries to Zanzibar. But now, during this time that this challenge has happened, if these people cannot come to Zanzibar, I can take Zanzibar to them. So, what I did is I picked up my phone and I started making videos. And these videos were sharing Zanzibar with the rest of the world, not because I wanted to be a video creator, not because I wanted to be an influencer. It's because I had that in hopes that when people want to come back, they'll eventually search for Zanzibar and they'll see my face out there and they'll say, oh, we want to work with this person. So the idea of me making videos was really tied to the skill that I had and what I was doing, not knowing that making those videos will open doors that I never thought of. Everybody saw me differently. Some people watched the videos and said, oh, he could be a great video editor. I never thought I would be a video editor. Some people looked at the videos, they said, oh, he could be a great educator. Oh, I never thought I would be like a teacher or something. And some people looked at the videos and said, oh, he could be a great tour guide. Oh, that's good because that's what I do. But then people showed me what I was really good at, things that I didn't know that were inside of me, just by sharing my skills out there. And I got to work with several international organizations, including the World Bank, several international creators, media outlets like CNN and Global TV, which is one of the largest television networks in Latin America, as well as a creative producer for a Jack Ma foundational program, a flagship entrepreneurship program called Africa's Business Heroes, which is supported by Alibaba Philanthropy. And all of this was because of these videos that I made. Now, this is not to show that every great thing that I've done, but it's mainly to show that today the world we live in is very different. That we live in a world where what you do and your skill really matters, and how you put it out there is the most important. That opportunities today are not just about they are not just about every single thing that we spoke about, which is someone need to give you an opportunity. Opportunities today are all about access. And we have with us that access, that a bridge to those opportunities is right on our hands, every single one of us. It's just about how you use what you have on your hands with the skill that you have. So think about the amount of knowledge that is filled in the minds of the people in this space right now, the skills you take for granted, the expertise you've built over time. Sometimes we let the limits of what's around us make us think that we are really not worthy enough, that we need to wait for somebody else to give us an opportunity. We need to wait to be discovered. We need to wait to be celebrated. But as I said, opportunities today are not about all that. They're not about who you are. They're not about where you come from. They're not about which school you went. They're all about that access. And this device gave me that access. That access gave me visibility. And that visibility built my credibility from the skills that I have and what I contributed to the world. And that visibility gave me the connections that I currently have today. So I used to say something to myself that I'll leave with you today as well, is that I cannot choose what happens to me, but I can choose how I feel about it. I can either look at where I come from as a challenge, or I can either look at where I come from as an opportunity. Thank you.